Back, brothers and sisters. So I'm gonna make a short video and it's gonna be different. I'm not gonna talk too much about what I think of things. I'm just gonna read you a couple things and then let you make your own conclusions as to why I'm bringing it up. Lake Tahoe was great. I ended up buying a new book. I don't recommend the book because the person starts off really great and then halfway through it gets very political, and it's like, if you're so politically biased you don't have an open mind, there's not much to learn from you, is there? I could just find out the same stuff in the news. Anyways, but it does have some great examples in here, and I don't want to waste too much time talking about it. So I'm going to start with scripture, and then I'm going to read you a part of that book which made me think of this scripture, and then I'm just going to end it there. So my scripture actually was inspired by Edmund Burke's quote: "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." Right? Think about this. This is going to be the theme. I'm going to tilt the camera a little bit, and I'm sorry because I'm trying to hold the Bible with one hand. The quote in scripture is from Psalm 94, chapter 94, starts at verse 16. "Who will rise up for me against the wicked? Who will stand by me against evildoers? Were not the Lord my help, I would soon dwell in the silent grave. When I say my foot is slipping, your kindness, O Lord, sustains me." That's the foundation, standing strong for God. "When cares abound within me, your comfort gladdens my soul. How could the tribunal of wickedness be leagued with you, which creates burdens in the guise of the law? In the guise of the law. Though they attack the life of the just and condemn innocent blood, yet the Lord is my stronghold and my God, the rock of my refuge. He will requite them for their evil doing, and for their wickedness he will destroy them. The Lord our God will destroy them." So it's for us to stand up for good, and it is for God to strike them down. But for us to stand up for God and help those who need him. Okay? Maybe we're meant to stand up for our brothers and sisters and let God handle the evildoers. In 1 John chapter 3, verse 17, "If anyone has the world's goods and sees his brother in need, yet closes his heart against him, how does God's love abide in that man?" How are you acting out? Walk the walk, right? Don't just talk the talk. In Galatians chapter 6, verse 2, "Bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ." Bear one another's burdens. Okay, put a thumbtack in that, and I'm going to read you this, and I'm going to tell you I love you, and I'm going to tell you to love each other, then I'm going to tell you all to stay salty. Okay, "Do not obey in advance" is the name of this chapter. Most of the power of authoritarianism is freely given to the leaders. In times like these, individuals think ahead about what a more repressive government will want and then offers themselves without being asked. A citizen who adapts in this way is teaching the higher powers of other humans, not God's. Higher powers what it can do. You're giving it way. Now, let's get into the chapter, and I'm going to try to speak fast. Anticipatory obedience is a political tragedy. Perhaps rulers did not initially know that citizens were willing to compromise this value or that principle. Perhaps a new regime did not at first have the direct means of influencing citizens one way or another. After the German elections in 1932, which permitted Adolf Hitler to form a government, the Czechoslovak elections in 1946, where communists were victorious, the next crucial step was anticipatory obedience. Because enough people in both cases voluntarily extended their services to the new leaders, Nazis and communists alike realized that they could move quickly toward a full regime change. The first heedless acts of conformity could not then be reversed. There's more. In early 1938, Adolf Hitler, by then securely in power in Germany, was threatening to annex neighboring Austria. After the Austrian chancellor conceded, it was the Austrians' anticipatory obedience that decided the fate of the Austrian Jews. Local Austrian Nazis captured Jews and forced them to scrub the streets to remove symbols of independent Austria. It gets better. Crucially, people who were not Nazis looked on with interest and amusement. Nazis who had kept lists of Jewish property stole what they could. Also, crucially, others who were not Nazis joined in the theft. As the political theorist Hannah Arendt remembered, quote, when German troops invaded the country and the Gentile neighbors started riots at Jewish homes, Austrian Jews began to commit suicide. Close quote. The anticipatory obedience of Austrians in March 1938 taught the high Nazi leadership what was possible. It was in Vienna that Adolf Eichmann established the Central Office of Jewish Immigration. In November 1938, following the Austrian example of March, German Nazis organized the national pogrom known as Kristallnacht. I'm not German. I've never been influential with German, so I'm having a hard time with their dialect. Excuse me. In 1941, when Germany invaded the Soviet Union, the SS took the initiative to devise the methods of mass killing without orders to do so. They guessed that their superiors wanted and demonstrated what was possible. It was far more than Hitler had thought. At the very beginning, anticipatory obedience means adapting instinctively without reflecting to a new situation. Do only Germans do such things? Now here we move into the second part. I gotta make it quick. The Yale psychologist Stanley Milgram, contemplating Nazi atrocities, wanted to show that there were particular authoritarian personalities that exist in all people, that it would explain why Germans behaved as they had. He devised an experiment to test the proposition. Okay, so what he basically does is he gets two sets of subjects. One test subject knew what this experiment was supposed to do. The other subjects did not. So the first set of subjects were to sit in a room and be connected to wires, while the second set of subjects were to obediently be told when to shock the people in the other room, regardless of what they said or did. The people in the other room, the first set of subjects that knew what the experiment was about, were supposed to act like they were being shocked when they actually were not. And the students in the second set of room that thought they really were being shocked kept shocking them no matter how much they cried in pain and asked to be stopped. Some subjects in the original subject room that knew it was all fake even cried out that their heart was hurting. Some even collapsed and pretended to be dead or passed out, at which case the students did not stop when they were told to do what they were supposed to do because they were told to do it. And in the end, after they left the room, the experiment was over, none asked if anybody was okay. Human nature. Who will you do? Who will you do? Would you be the person? Would you be the good man who does nothing? Do you have it in your nature to continue to harm others? It is of the flesh that we are bound to sin. It is through our faith that we have to know better. That we have to be able to stand up and stand our ground and say, I will not do this because it's wrong. Not going to do my lecture. That's all I want to say today. I read all this and many more chapters that I want to talk about furthermore from this book and relate them to scripture and bring them to your attention. But just think about this for a little bit. The only thing that evil needs to triumph is for good men to do nothing. Think about that. Go do good, right? All right, I'm at 10 minutes. I've got a crappy phone and I can only record for so long. So, love you guys. Love each other. Stay salty.